Welcome back to NTD Good Morning. I'm Kerry Dunst. You may have seen it. You type a text message on your phone, and then you start getting these auto suggestions. Sometimes it's super helpful, but it could that underlying AI technology be compromising your privacy? Joining us to discuss is Tanner Haas. He's CEO of Freedom Chat. Tanner, thanks for joining us this morning. Like most things, when there are new benefits, there are new costs, though it never occurred to me that the auto features that help you write text messages could actually be exposing you to new privacy concerns. So what should people be aware of in this regard?
Well, thank you so much for having me on, Kerry. You are absolutely right. People need to be aware that there is mass surveillance happening in this country, and AI is enabling that. So what's going on in these private messages that you have that are supposed to be end-to-end encrypted is you have AI actually analyzing every single one of your private messages. And most of the time, these models that Google, Apple, Meta, that they run are much too large to run on a single device. So what happens is this message that you send is decrypted, sent to their server so they can analyze it, and then it's sent back to your recipient's device. So we are quietly having our Fourth Amendment right, which protects Americans against unnecessary search and seizure. It's being violated, and really nobody's paying attention to how it's going on, how quickly it's come on. And I think it's honestly, it's a crisis that we need to pay attention to.
Now, Tanner, in my understanding, when there's something that isn't exactly as it's presented, there's potentially two outcomes. One is that the technology companies say that the encryption exists to sort of the mother brain, if you will, or sometimes they bury it in the very lengthy terms and conditions that people just have to click through to get to the services they'd want. Most people don't read those, myself included, unfortunately, just because they're too long, and you just want to get to the treat, if you will. So I want to understand from a privacy perspective, how is this actually taking place? Is it buried in the terms and conditions and people aren't aware of it? Or is it that the actual technology has changed and that hasn't been presented to the users?
Both, but you did hit it right on the head that it's presented in a 42-page terms of conditions, and 99% of people bypass that because they want the new emoji, they want the new update. And little did you know that you just signed away your private conversations, so AI can now analyze everything you say. And here's the severity of the issue that people need to understand. If you really trust these big tech companies who have clearly shown, I mean, they're not partisan, right? They've banned President Trump from every social media platform. They clearly do not align with one party or do not align with both parties. So if you just signed away your private conversations, so now it knows who you talk to, when you talk to them, how often you talk to them, and now you couple that with mass surveillance, facial recognition, all of a sudden you know every single thing about a person. They know who I talk to, when I talk to them, where I go. This is a real issue that people need to be aware of, because right now the Fourth Amendment still exists on paper, but it does not exist in practice. And people need to wake up and realize, oh my gosh, what did I just do when I just updated my phone? Well, you just gave Apple, Meta, Google permission to read and analyze every single one of your conversations. What you thought you were sending to your wife that is private, no, just about every Meta contractor can now see that message.
Wow, that is certainly eye-opening. And I believe a similar thing happens with those speakers that people typically put in their kitchen. In the terms and conditions of those types of devices is typically, that those conversations that you're having can also be, used for whatever purposes that the provider wants to. So let's pivot over to Freedom Chat. How are you using privacy as product differentiation?
Well, at Freedom Chat, we believe privacy is a fundamental human right. And we don't just say that because talk is cheap. We live it out. So with Freedom Chat, we will not now, not ever have AI incorporated into your private messages, because as soon as AI enters the conversation, your privacy leaves. So at Freedom Chat, we have true end-to-end encryption, and that has taken on an ambiguous meaning recently, but end-to-end encryption is supposed to mean nobody under any circumstance can read your message except the intended recipient. On Freedom Chat, that's true. We have no commercial use of user data. We store no users' messages on our server. We prevent screenshots, screen recordings. We don't support linked devices. So a Signalgate that happened, it's likely that would not have happened on Freedom Chat. These other messaging apps that put on a persona, oh, we're private, we care about you, we care about your privacy. It's not accurate. Then remove the AI model from the conversation. Do not support linked devices. Do not upload every single one of my messages onto a server. So if you care about your privacy and you believe it's a fundamental human right, which it is, download Freedom Chat on iOS or Android and begin messaging privately, because it's not that you have something to hide. You have something to protect. What you text your wife, what you text your son, your husband, that's nobody else's business. And that's how it should be. Let's give privacy back to the people. And that's what we're doing at Freedom Chat.
Well, Tanner, I certainly hope that our audience will check out Freedom Chat, because it sounds like you're taking a different approach to privacy. I just have like 20, 30 seconds left, but I was hoping for people who, like, they just can't go beyond the pre-installed thing on their phone. Do you have any tips for those kinds of people in how they can be more privacy aware as we finish up?
Remove AI anywhere you can when it pertains to your privacy. Point blank, because anytime AI comes into the conversation, AI is trained on data. It needs more data. And the more data, meaning more invasive into your life, like who you talk to, where you go. This is how it starts as a helpful AI agent. But then that agent all of a sudden is run by a company that knows every single thing about you. And again, you couple that with this mass surveillance, with these camera facial recognition, and we have a constitutional crisis. So please remove AI anywhere you can from your private conversations if you want to keep your privacy.
Tanner, thank you so much for joining. Very eye-opening conversation, really important. Wishing you luck as well with Freedom Chat. Thanks for joining.
Thank you so much for having me on, Kerry.